Hello. I'm going to do a little bit of a comparison video between two wools today. I'm washing Valais Blacknose and Teeswater at the same time. So I am going to video the process and show you what I think at the end. So to start off with, the Teeswater is a lot greasier, a lot more stiff, full of lanolin. You can see how stiff it is there. And the Valais Blacknose is fairly, look at that, fairly wispy, not a lot of oil. That's my first thought. Wouldn't be able to take a video in the dark. So I've left this overnight and here is the results. The Valais Blacknose is this one and it looks fairly clean. I'm gonna let all the water out and then I'm gonna run it through the hose. This has stayed in its lock form a lot more than this, but we'll see what it looks like when I let the water out. So this is after first wash. Bit of a look. So the Teeswater seems a bit darker in places, but I'm not sure that's just because the fibres don't separate quite as easily. And it was dirtier in the first place. This doesn't look quite as white, but when you pull bits of it out, actually. So there you can see I've literally taken the tiniest piece of this, and this is, excuse my farm hands, that's what you get. It's still in very much in lock formation. This, however, you pull that up and it just comes apart into like single fibres. So from a processing point of view, this would be easier, I would think, less oils to wash out, and it seems to come apart easier. But that's not to say that the carding process will be any easier or anything. So we'll see how it goes. I've literally just filled this up again and washed through the wool. It's just warmish water, like you wouldn't want to keep your hand in it for too long, but it's not boiling. And then I'll just give it a little second rinse. There, the water's actually coming off fair clean, so it's not too bad. My hands are dirtier than the wool is, I think. So it's draining. See what it's like when I get it out. Hello everybody. There's been a complete change of season since I started this video, but I am doing a comparison video between processing Valais Blacknose and Teeswater fleece. So now the fleece is dry. I'll just miss out the fact that I left it outside for 3 weeks, completely forgot about it. The fleeces are both dry. These are them. There is a massive difference. So with your Teeswater, it is still little bits. It's very stuck together. It's still got quite a bit of lanolin in. Not that I'm bothered about that, but as part of the differences, you can see it's very, it's kind of felted already. You know, it's quite tangled, keeps its shape. Very fine, very soft, smells nice. Your Valais Blacknose has all come apart quite easily. You can see it just comes to pieces. It's not particularly tangled in any way. Let's have a look. So staple length, very similar. I'd say they're about as long as each other. So I'll do a little bit of processing. I'm going to drum card it and I will let you know what I think of it when I've done it. Drying time, I'd say the Teeswater took a little bit longer and it held moisture for longer. But apart from that, to wash them, they were pretty much the same. the Valais Blacknose didn't have the lanolin in to start with as much as the Teeswater, so it wasn't there to wash out, so that's not really a fair comparison. But anyway, now they've both been washed for the same amount of time, the same amount of washes. The Teeswater still is quite a lot greasier than the Valais Blacknose. So I'll just drum card them and I'll let you know how we get on. So I'll start with Teeswater.
I'm going to speed this up, so I need to speak all the way through.
So as you can see, it is staying in lock formation quite a lot. So I think this is going to take a bit more carding than the other, but we'll soon see. So this is one pass. It's still it's like this. So I'll go for 2 passes, see how that goes. So that was not neat, and it was not easy to remove. So one pass, it looks like this. I would have done this more, but it's been through 4 times. So for the purpose of the video, I'm going to leave it there. So onto the Valais Blacknose. Here's the Teeswater. It's been through 4 times. There's still knots remaining, but never mind, we'll soon see. here's this. I'm going to put this through. I'll put it through the same amount of times for the purpose of the video. So already I can feel it's a lot easier to turn. There's not as many knots, not as many snags, not as many thick bits going through, catching. So this is the first turn, and already you can see from here it doesn't have them little knots. So I could carry on and put this through 4 times, but to be honest, I suspect that this is already more carded out than the Teeswater, which went through 4 times. So I'll take it off and see how we go. I think it'd just be a pointless exercise putting it through again. So it was easy to remove. There are no knots, and honestly that was like a 30-second job, you can see already. So I'm going to lay them both out and then I'll show you them side by side. We have 2 very similar looking wools right now. This is the Valais Blacknose and this is the Teeswater. So if we first have a look at the Valais Blacknose, I'll spread it out a little bit. There's no knots. There's no knots. It's pretty uniform. It's all in a straight line. It's clean. It's very white. This, however, is slightly oily still, even though it has been washed the same amount of times as this, but it started off with more oil. So we'll just pull this apart as well. There's still quite a few knots. It hasn't carded out as well, and this went through 4 times and this went through 1. So there's a massive difference in processing time, I think. For the whiteness of them both, and let you judge for yourselves. I think this one comes up on top on the whiteness. Now for softness, and if you look at these here are the Valais Blacknose and these here are the Teeswater. They are nigh on identical. So I think the actual fibre, if it was processed regardless of the time it took, to the same quality, the fibres are pretty much the same. The thickness of the actual wool is the same. Now, if you're a spinner, obviously, people are just crafters like me. They're not just felting. If you're a spinner, I don't think you'd be able to use this particular fleece. I'm not saying every single fleece will be identical to this one, but this particular fleece you would not have been able to use if you are spinning uncarded wool, and probably unwashed as well. It just wouldn't come apart. It just wouldn't do it, and you wouldn't be able to make it work. Whereas this, you'd have been able to throw this on, and I think it'd be great. It's really long, but then again, your jumper's going to be thousands of pounds by the time you finished it. So it's 6 2/3 really. So I'm going to do a little bit of felting as well and show you the difference in like patch testing and the felting. So watch this. So here we have a very contrasting colour. That's the only reason I've used this. And this is the Valais Blacknose and this is the Teeswater. I am using a 36 gauge triangular needle, which is getting a little bit technical for this video. I can't even make the phone zoom in on it if I'm honest. There you can see it is a triangle and it has barbs on it, can you see? And those barbs are going to push this wool through that into that wool, and then it's going to be held there in place. So To be fair, this one has got quite a lot less lumpy bits in, and this one still has the lumpy bits out of like the knots that I didn't get out when I was carding. Yeah, and you can see that yellowy colour as well coming through because of it's not quite as white. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, just comparison wise, that's the two of them. So in conclusion to this very long-winded video, which you probably found very boring unless you're mental about wool like me, Valais Blacknose is the clear winner for me. It is worth £20 a fleece. That is what I paid for this. Whether or not people are selling it for more, I have no idea. And the Teeswater, if I couldn't get this would be great. But if you are one of those people who wants curly little locks to go on craft projects and to dye them, for instance, here, look at this, to dye them blue and purple and interesting colours, and they all look very sweet and delicate with the little curls and things, and they, you know, a lot of people they make like gnomes and stuff, and they use them as hair. Teeswater is the way forward. It's cheaper than the Valais Blacknose. It keeps its lock formation even when you're trying to card it. So I would say that is very much a cheaper alternative to a higher quality fleece, which is the Valais Blacknose. That being said, as a farmer, I have heard from several people, no one really gets the point of these. Once you take the fleece off them, they look a bit like a goat. There's no meat on them. They're not particularly hardy. These, however, obviously everyone uses them around here. They'd cross them with their sheep, so they're quite a common breed. So obviously the fleeces are going to be a lot cheaper. So it's a hard one, really. Yeah, this is a better quality fleece. It's superb. Look at it. It's really good. But are you going to want to, as a crafter, pay £20 for a fleece? I did. But, you know, I'll show you my wool. I'm slightly crazy. So it's up to you guys. I just thought I'd do a little comparison video because I always found the similarities in the locks really interesting, and I've always wanted to compare them.